Welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. To keep listening to Wicked Darkness with Sue Pitt Paranormal, please make sure to follow us. If you want to see more of us, give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, as well as your... Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to say. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness with Sue Pitt Paranormal. To keep listening to us, please make sure to follow us. If you want to see us, no, that's not what you want. Okay, we're going to do this again. Blah, 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 blah. To keep listening to Wicked Darkness with Sue Pitt. Okay, there we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. To keep listening to us, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, as well as our YouTube channel, and give us a like. Yeah, you're just improvising. Hey everyone, welcome back. Hey everyone, welcome back to another week. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. Wicked Darkness. Why can't you say that? Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. To keep listening to Wicked Darkness. Fudge. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. Please make sure to follow us so you can keep listening to our episodes. If you want to see more of us, give us a like on Facebook and Instagram, as well as our YouTube channel, Sue Pitt 2009. And scene. Hey everybody, I'm Kathy. I'm your host, and with me tonight I've got members with our Sue Pitt team. I got Rich, Brian, and Leah tonight. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good evening.
Good. So we're in October, spooky season, and we've been talking about different locations. Last episode we talked about Summerwind. This episode, we're going to be talking about Brumder Mansion in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Not too far away from us. What would you say? Probably 20, 25 minutes away from us?
From you? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, probably a little further.
You think? Yeah?
Yeah, because it takes me about 30 minutes to get to you from Greendale. So I would say you guys are about 35 minutes.
Okay.
Is it downtown?
Wisconsin Avenue.
Yep.
Okay.
So how far away is that from Marquette campus? Because Marquette's downtown.
Yeah, it's walking distance.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's on that end of Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
like over by the Rays
okay.
and stuff like that direction.
Right. Yep. And it's close to the Paps. It's kind of like where a lot of the mansions were back in the day.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times I went past this when I used to work up there at the hospital. And because it's on Wisconsin. So I wonder how many times I've actually went past Brumner and never even thought anything of it at the time. Just because I'm trying to rush to get to work.
My sister went to Marquette. I got to ask her about this. She knew anything about it.
Yeah, because the hospital I worked at is right on the Marquette campus. So where the hospital was on the east end, or is on the east end of Marquette campus. So this has got to be on the west end of Marquette campus, or on the outskirts of the west end of Marquette. Which isn't that far away from downtown Milwaukee either.
Right.
That's like a hop, skip, and a jump, and you're in downtown Milwaukee. But, so Brumner, we have not been there. We were just discussing this, that we want to go there, and it's on Leah's bucket list.
Absolutely.
And, so we're thinking we're going to probably do a trip there next year as one of our investigations, which I think would be fantastic.
Yep.
So Brumner, it was actually Mr. Brumner, George Brumner, who was born in Germany in 1839 and he moved to Milwaukee somewhere around 1857. And he actually, does anybody know what he actually did I know he was a businessman, and I know that he did publications, but I couldn't find.
He made his fortune. He was doing German language newspapers and material, and like did sheet music for the German immigrants that were here in Milwaukee.
Okay, because I could find that he was doing the newspaper, but I'm like, is that all he did? Because it made it sound like he did something other than that. But that's how he kind of made his fortune, so that the German immigrants felt like they were still at home and they can understand the language, because they didn't really speak a lot of English coming over here. But it wasn't until after he had gotten pretty well off that he decided that he was going to build a home for his oldest son, George Jr., and he built the home in 1910. But George Sr. never got to see the actual finished product, which is kind of sad. But
that's a common theme in a lot of things I've been reading about. When you listen to stories, a lot of these historic places, it's crazy because it usually ends in whoever's doing it doesn't get to see it through.
Never see it through.
You know,
wasn't that the same thing when we went to Mabel Tainter Theater? Wasn't that where the family didn't?
No, there was the daughter.
Was it
that passed away? They named it after her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what that one was.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about the look of the mansion. Rich, what did you say it was like?
Looks like the Munsters house.
See, all they need is like the Munster vehicle right in front.
The picture I saw, it was a black and white photo, and it was obviously an older photo. So that's just the first thing I came to mind.
I saw a picture of the sign, the Brumner sign. It's like that old wooden sign hanging out in the front area.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But so it is the Gothic Victorian architecture. This place is like 3 or 4 stories, and almost 8,000 square feet. That's a big house. That is huge. And Junior, he lived there with his wife. Tekla. How would you say her first name? I'm probably like killing German people right now, sitting there like, oh, say her name properly, and I'm German myself, so it's killing me. But anyway,
are you saying George Jr. and Henrietta?
Yeah. Well, I've got is it Henrietta? Is that her name?
Henrietta.
I've got a maybe she changed it. It's Thekla. Thekla? But
I have it, Henrietta, and 11 children, with only 9 surviving.
Okay. So they lived there, but they only lived there for like 10 years, it looked like. They didn't live there very long.
Yeah, then Henrietta died.
Yeah. And then he just couldn't take living there anymore, too much to remind him of his wife. So in 1927, they sold it to Sam Pick. And when I first started thinking this, I was like, is this like Pick and Save? A grocery store around here? I'm like, Sam Pick. And they were saying the brothers. So it was Sam and Ed. And I'm like, okay. But it's not. I was completely off on that. Sam and his brother Ed purchased the home, and Sam lived there with his wife and their son, and he ended up owning a bar, right? Was that there was like a bar,
right?
Or a club that he
owned?
Club
Madrid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Club Madrid. Yep.
And then they ended up allegedly having some ties to Al Capone. So Al, and we had talked about this, Al seems to be in Milwaukee a lot more than we anticipated he was back in the day.
Right.
Most people think of Al Capone, they think Chicago, the mob back then, the gangsters and stuff like that. But apparently he crossed the border, came up to Wisconsin quite often, and like hung out in Milwaukee more than we thought.
Yeah, so if you're going up the river from Chicago into Milwaukee, there's a pretty long history of using that river for the mobsters to come on up and down from Chicago pretty easily, and of course transport what they need to transport. Soda. They transported soda.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which
Soda.
river?
Milwaukee River.
Milwaukee River. All right.
Are we doing soda in like,
It was root beer.
was it
Yeah. Yeah. hmm
root beer? Yes, that's what we'll call it. Emphasis on the beer and not so much of the root. So he allegedly, was having some good old times down in the basement because I guess the way that the Brumder Mansion is built, it has not only a basement where you can get into the basement from inside the house, but it also has one from an entrance from outside the house. So they were able to have a little speakeasy downstairs. And it sounds like the Pick family not only had a speakeasy, but it sounded like they also had a brothel.
Sweet.
And some gambling down there.
Sweet.
Yeah. So
Right.
they made sure that everybody was having a great time during the Prohibition era.
As they should.
But they also said that there was 4 young women that lived there known as roomers, living with the Pick family, and they would work in the speakeasy.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Pick family decided they didn't want the mansion anymore. They were trying to get out before anything happened serious to them. So around 1932, they decided they were going to sell it, and they got out right before Prohibition was done. So then it stayed vacant for a while, and then it was briefly rumored to be owned by some lawyers. And then there was a couple that bought it and then made it into a boarding house for a company nearby. And then in the mid 1940s, the home was purchased again by a Lutheran church where they used it as an activity center. But they also had it as living quarters for the pastors. So it was like offices, meeting rooms, daycare, a chapel, youth center. And then it was in the late 70s, that Carol and Robert Hirsch would buy the property. And then they created a bed and breakfast that we know now as Brumder Mansion. So, I mean, there's a lot of history behind this place. Oh, hello, kitty. So now it doesn't look like Carol and Robert own the property now. It's owned by somebody else, but they've kept it as it was then.
Yeah, they came to visit and learned that the owners were going to be putting it on the market so they can retire, and a year later they got it.
Yeah. And then they also have it now, instead of the speakeasy, they got rid of the speakeasy, but looks like there's still like a bar type thing down below in the basement area. Yeah. But it's more for the performances in the theater because it's now been converted into a theater. And you can go there and see plays and different things like you were saying, Rich. They have murder mystery dinners there and stuff like that. This place has always got something going on.
We're gonna have a podcast from there one time next year when we go there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
They're gonna add that to the list.
Yes, I say we
Good
do
idea.
it. I say we do it. We start in like the gold room, and then we take a break, and then we go down into the basement.
Could do that too. Yeah, something like that. We split it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and see if we get anything. Maybe something happens. So we're talking about the gold room, and Leah, you were telling us a little bit more about the gold room.
Yeah, I'd like to definitely stay in the gold room. There's talks about a lady there named Susan, but would go by Aunt Pussy. Not the best name, but that's what she wanted to go as. They talk about like she doesn't like. Oh, my cat's being weird. Not really my cat. If anybody's up for fostering, or adopting, she's a foster.
Oh, Rich.
I have enough animals over here.
Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie, Carrie. We're showing some names out there.
Yeah.
No pressure, anybody.
Rob, Amy.
Anybody interested, let us know. Email us and we'll get you in contact with Leah.
Yep, that's through the Ozaki Humane Society. 2 kittens.
Little shout out there.
Yep. So, was it like Hershey or Hershey?
Hershey, I think.
Yeah.
When she owned it, there were some experiences with like a female entity that stays there. And she was staying in there one night with her dog, and she heard a voice telling her to get the dog out of the bed. She said a mirror from the bathroom kind of like lifted and fell off the whatever it was hanging on and shattered.
But they said that the hook or the wire that it was on
Was like perfect.
was
still
Yeah.
So there wasn't any reason for it to lift off and
right.
then, or just, fall down or whatever.
Right. So there's been like guests and like other investigators that came and said they had just strange experiences in the gold room, like having intense dreams or often seeing like a stern woman or seeing her in their dreams. They didn't like or she doesn't like dogs. And apparently there was a psychic that stayed there and said that the woman called herself Aunt Pussy and then said she doesn't like the decor and she doesn't like dogs staying in the room. And since then, dogs weren't allowed to be in the room. And it seemed to be like the spirit was a little bit calmer.
I wonder if anybody brought in like a stuffed animal type dog that could move, those little barky ones. See if they would get any kind of reaction from that.
I would absolutely love to bring my little dog just to see what happens. But she still doesn't like the decor. So, I mean, we could talk about how wonderful the decor is and see if that will grab her attention by telling us, no, it sucks. I don't know, something.
Right.
It says here, when guests stayed there with their dogs, the woman in their dreams would threaten the dogs if they did not remove them from the room immediately. Said people staying in the room have very intense dreams staying in that room.
Well, and we're calling it the gold room. And Rich, you were saying that because they come with different names. Each of the rooms, there's 4 rooms.
The gold one to me looked like Emma's room, but I could be wrong. It doesn't. They have them listed as where was it? The suites they have listed as Emma.
Yeah,
Emma
that's
Suite,
Emma,
George
George,
Suite.
Kenneth, and Marion.
Yeah, so I mean, you almost have to click on them to see. But the one that has like the yellowish gold wallpaper on it looks to be the Emma's suite.
I think so, because there's supposed to be a playful spirit in Marion's room, and then the other 2 rooms are male names. So I think
Marion's looks like it's bluish green.
Yeah.
Emma's is gold. I think you got that right, Rich. I think you're right.
That's what it looks like to me anyway.
Yes, I agree.
So
I gotta call Brumder tomorrow.
So when Carol got there and took over, they know of like 3 known spirits, but she was saying in that gold room that besides the dog and the mirror falling off is that she was in the gold room and it had nobody in it for days. Nobody had stayed there, but she discovered fresh droplets of blood in the tub basin. And she doesn't know where it came from. So she thought maybe there was a body up above and it was like dripping down, but then she went up there and there was no body up there. Like somebody had died and, she just missed them, not checking out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But she said that she checked upstairs for a body and the blood could be coming from the ceiling, but then there wasn't anything there. And so she has no explanation why she would have fresh blood in the tub. And she has a dog. Carol had a dog when they lived there. And her dog would just go crazy sometimes. And that's when she would be told to get the dog out of there. But then, as you were saying, there's this stern woman that's there. And there's also, they think that it's also George Jr. That could be there in George's room. And they were saying that they have like strong breezes, like these strange breezes that come into the room. Objects will go missing, and then they'll reappear in their original place. So if your stuff goes missing, hopefully it comes back before you leave. But then they said that they had a paranormal team there that had heard footsteps and humming from outside the door. And it was incredibly cold. So I don't know. And they saw shadows that were going around.
I'd have to experience that stuff for myself.
Well, and then they thought one of the team members ended up getting a headache when they were in the room. But as soon as she left the room, her headache just disappeared. But the team was like, well, maybe she was, feeling more effects from the equipment that was around there.
She could be sensitive to stuff, it's an old building. Maybe stuff's not straight. You get that funhouse effect.
Right.
I mean, it's going to affect different people different ways. I mean, if someone's more sensitive to stuff like that, I mean, by looking at the pictures, I mean, there's lots of stairs, lots of wood. I mean, lots of different angles. So, I mean, something like that could cause somebody to have something like that. Not that that's it, but I mean, it's all, could be.
We've had that with some investigations with the stairs or the hallway where it was like on an angle, and we had that funhouse effect where we felt a little off, but it was just, the floor itself. I mean, we now carry in our arsenal of tools with us, we carry a level so that we can see if the flooring or whatever is level or if it's actually off. That's why we're feeling the way we're feeling. Right. But I don't know if they did that.
There's a good deal of different claims. So when we do decide to go there, I mean, there should be no problem with us trying to prove or disprove a lot of these claims. I mean, it's not like it's not just a general thing of, we heard a noise type thing. They're just, some of this stuff is kind of specific to like each room or who they think the people are. So we even have names. This goes, this is kind of a cool investigation to do because you have a lot of history and you know the names, the stories. So you have that in your back pocket already to use to try to draw something out,
Right. And they're saying that I was just looking it up. It's Marion's Suite. Is that the one that you just said, Leah, that had the little child? Was it Marion's Suite?
Marion, yeah.
Yeah.
The kid.
Yep. And what they caught was the EVP of Don't Leave, Help Me. And it was of a little girl. That's kind of heartbreaking. I mean, and why is she saying help me? Is she having a problem with whatever else is there that's scaring her, or she wants to go be by her family? Why does she not want them to leave? Or she just doesn't want to be alone anymore. And then they said that they have people jumping on the bed, like a little kid jumping on the bed. And they also talk about there's like a marriage certificate, and they don't say who the marriage certificate is in Emma's room, but it fell off the wall, and that was also the same thing. The hook and the wire still were perfectly in shape, and the frame was on the floor and it was broken. It was shattered. No explanation why.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think the funny thing is whoever it is that's there, one of the three, if not more, they lock people out of the mansion. So you go to the mansion, you stay there as a guest, and you leave to go have a night out in the town and come back, and it's now locked. And it's not the people that stay there, the caretakers, that lock the door. it's spirits that are locking the door. And then you go to push the doorbell and the doorbell doesn't work. It's like, no, we're done with you.
We don't want you anymore.
Yeah. We're going to keep your stuff, but you can't come back in. So I'm sure Rob would be the one that will say, I'll go outside. I'm going to push the doorbell and try to get back in. Because that's kind of how he is anyway. But, it's interesting of who this aunt is. Is she, because she goes, her real name is supposed to be Susan, but she goes by something other than that. We won't say that again because, we're trying to stay G-rated here. Not that really works half the time anyway. But, who is she? And, they think that it's George that's there, but they're not sure. And the little girl, could she possibly be a child from George, his family? Because, it sounds like he had a big family. Or is it somebody from like a visitor that stayed there at the bed and breakfast and she liked it so much as a child, she goes back there as a child again. Maybe, I don't know. It's interesting. I was looking through some other things. It looks like during the time that it was a speakeasy, they had two bouncers, Joe and a Mike. I don't know if you saw anything about that. So Joe and Mike were bouncers during the Prohibition time with the speakeasy, and all of a sudden they ended up knowing too much, and it was rumored that the mob took them out. And they were there one day and then they were gone the next. And could it happen? Cross Al Capone, I'm sure anything could happen. But do they walk the halls down into the basement area? It's a possibility. I don't know. And then because why I say that there has been seen a full body apparition was seen in the basement, and the guy was supposed to be the apparition was supposed to be about 6 feet tall, but he was wearing a fedora. So I don't know, maybe part of the theater, or I don't know. What is it? Joe and Mike wearing a fedora? I don't know why they would. But that was a full body apparition that they saw. They knew it wasn't a real person. It was
fedoras were big in the 1920s, the mob era.
Yeah. But I don't know why would a bouncer be wearing one though?
Yeah.
So who is that? And then there's also the music of an organ being played that people hear. And I don't know if they actually have like an organ or a piano there. I was looking, I was trying to do
there's
like
a couple of them around there, looks like, yeah.
Is there?
Looks like there's one and I can only assume where you walk in because it's next to a staircase. I can only imagine it's in one of the front rooms. Looks like there's an organ.
Okay. Because I was like focused more on the rooms themselves. I was like, oh, what do they have in this room? And oh, this one has this in there. And, they've got their own private baths. And then, if you go there and you want to go there with your significant other, they've got the jacuzzi in the rooms. But I don't think it's anything like they have at, what was that place called? It's like right there at the tip of my tongue. Sybaris? Yes. Sybaris. There it goes. That one's a little risque and stuff. I don't think that's what they had. Yeah. They didn't look like that. So, I think you're safe at the Brumner if you want to, have a night with your significant other, have at it. It looked a little
literally.
Bit yeah. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Brumder Mansion. So we'll see you after the break.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. Well, let's get back to Brumder Mansion. So, what do you guys think of Brumner?
I think if I'm reading the history correctly, I almost think that if there were be spirits there, I would believe them to be more of possibly Henrietta who died in the home, maybe Junior, possibly, I'm not sure. They did say that 9 of the 11 children survived, so I'm kind of wondering if the other children died in the home, if maybe that's why there's a child in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a good portion of the hauntings could very likely be from Sam's time period, because it just seemed like he was in some pretty dirty business with his brother,
Mm-hmm.
and he was run out of town with his brother as well. So there's a lot went down there when he owned it.
Do you think maybe George Sr. could be haunting the place? I mean, he was the one that built it.
Yeah, but he really didn't spend any time there. So, I mean,
it wasn't even for him.
No, it wasn't.
Right.
But, I
would question why he would be still there.
But he built it for his family. And then, his family was there for a little bit. But then, then he had these scrupulous people buy the home he built for his son. And they kind of just, ruined the reputation of Brumner at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'd expect to find him more around the Germania building.
Yeah.
He has the ties to that. So.
And where's that building at? As opposed to
it's
Brumner?
down in Wisconsin. It's closer to Wells, and it's in the 3rd Ward. Or it's like down by what am I thinking? It's over by the old Journal Sentinel building, Grand Avenue Mall area. It's down over there.
Oh, you mean Old World 3rd Street?
Yes, Old World 3rd Street is what I'm thinking. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's there. So I mean, it's in the general vicinity of Brumder, but it's not really that close.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you definitely have.
Other than the fact it's in Milwaukee, downtown
Right.
Milwaukee, but other than that, I think you'd find Senior there more than you'd probably find him at the home.
Yeah. And I wonder why the spirit doesn't like the dogs. Like, she just generally was not a dog person, or
Does she have maid there or something?
It says that she was probably one of the family's housekeepers, and that she's still caring for the estate. So that's why she wants everything to be tidy, nothing to be out of place, not messy, and the dog thing. So
we should just stay there and mess up the room a little bit, like throw
I was
clothes
just
around and
thinking
stuff.
that.
I think you have to.
Yeah. Like, mess with the curtains,
Mm-hmm.
Mess those up a little bit, have them like
Mess the bed.
Because doesn't she do stuff with the window? Like, she doesn't like the windows to be messed with. I'd be like trying to maybe open them if possible, or put the curtains in the middle of the window versus on the side of the window. That would irk me, just because it's not supposed to be that way. But that would be something that I'd want to try and go, maybe I'd have a camera on that and see if she moves it. That'd be awesome if we caught something.
It'd be cool if we got a camera like right in the corner of the room to see if it can catch like the whole room, just depending on how big the room is.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they say they saw the shadows like dancing on the walls, like going back and forth over the walls and stuff like that. And then I don't know if you saw, there was supposed to be some Victorian dressed woman walking up and down the stairs too. I don't know if that's the housekeeper or, Susan, because I don't want to call her the other name because I'm trying to be good.
But it could be a different pronunciation. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Orange is the New Black. So her name was Poussey. So you can say it like that.
Right. She's French.
I think we should say that at least once every episode.
Okay.
Then why don't you go by
maybe we can say it
hand?
in different languages as well. Brian, you're on that. Figure out what it is in different languages every week.
I'm actually on that right now. I don't know if it's gonna come up because it's like,
Jesus Christ. Come on.
hey, you know what? Wait.
This is where it went, folks.
Come on, I know. Come on.
You're not the least bit curious.
I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to hear it.
Tante Muschi.
That's German.
What is it again? Can I hear it again?
Tante Muschi.
I like it. sounds like a Chinese dinner or something.
It does. Let's see. Here's the English version.
Old Pussy.
Oh, she does that like in a French accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wow. Let's see. We're doing Spanish here.
Tía coño.
No,
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry. Okay, here's the French.
Ton chat.
It sounded like she said something else.
It does.
What'd you do in the toilet? All right. We'll do two more. This one's going to be Norwegian.
Tante fitte.
Okay.
Oh.
And then the Danish.
Masta fise.
Okay.
Okay.
So there you go. Those are the different ways of saying it. Yeah, if you want to figure it out why she's called that and you figure it out before we do, please let us know, because I personally, I would not have that as my name. That
There's got to be a
crossed
backstory
over.
to it.
There has to be.
When we go, I'll figure it out for you.
That's your job. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you got to come up with all the ways of saying it, because I've already done like 5 now. So
I think every episode we should pick one word that we find to be interesting, and then Kathy has to have that little app give us the pronunciations in different languages. That's what I think.
I can do that. I do it all the time at home. So
I bet.
The kids are like, they'll say, Mom, how do you say this? And I go, let's find out. And I'll do it all different languages. And then I start typing stuff in there and they're like, Mom. And I'm like, what? They're like, you can't say that. I go, I didn't. My phone said it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So I'm being I behave. It's my phone. Yes, I typed it in, but I can say what I want to say through the phone and be still somewhat proper. Yeah, I'm not proper at all. Let's just be honest. I am not the proper person. I can swear like a sailor. I was a firefighter back in the day. So we're just as bad as the sailors, if not worse. And I'm sure the truckers and the railroaders are just as bad.
Yep.
So yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like this team is pretty darn innocent. I feel like I'm the bad person of the team, so I try to stay quiet.
No, please don't stay quiet. We used to have somebody on our team, Allie. Yeah, I'll name drop you, Allie. Allie had this habit that every time we would go on an investigation, she would be dropping the F-bomb, like, I don't know, every 5 minutes. And I'm like, Allie, seriously, how am I supposed to get any evidence that I can put out there? Because you're cussing like every 5 seconds here. And she's like, I'm gonna try to get better. I'm gonna really try to get better. And then 5 seconds later, she's dropping the F-bomb again. I'm like, I'd sit there and look at her. I'm like, Allie. She goes, I'm really, really trying. So, and then we would go back and watch the videos and stuff like that. And yeah, there would be something. And I'm like, nah, I can't use it. Thanks. So we always joke around that we went on an investigation. I know we're off topic. We went on an investigation in Fond du Lac, and we pull in. It was snowing out. We pull in, and she turns to me and she goes, okay, guys, we're going to get out. The family's right there. And I go, okay, let's be professional. Family's looking at us. Let's do this. So we get out of the car, and at first, Allie is sitting next to me, and she opens the door, and then she disappears. And I'm like, Allie? I jump out of the truck, run around. Allie is like on her back in the snow. And I'm like, are you okay? And then I just lost it. And she's like, yeah, let's be professional. And she goes, at least you were concerned first, and then you laughed at me. So years later, she'll sit there and she'll text me. She's like, remember, be professional. And she does like the slip, sign or whatever. So yeah, Allie, we still talk about that one. So yeah, when we go to Brumner, we're gonna have to do something that we're gonna have to provoke. Not that we provoke in a bad way, but provoke enough to get the spirit to come out or spirits to come out. And I think the messing things up will be great.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be fine within the realm of trying to provoke without actually provoking. Just try to do something to get a response,
Agitate.
Agitate. Yeah, that's a good word. That's a better word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what do you think about going down into the basement area and maybe having a small little card game?
That would be a lot of fun.
We should.
Yeah, I wonder if any of the
stakes?
Yeah, right. I wonder if any of the current actors that perform down there are going to hear this and want to share their stories of what may have happened while they were maybe in a dressing room or rehearsing for a show. That would be really awesome to hear their stories.
Or anybody that has stayed there before and want to share the stories that they had experienced in their rooms or somewhere in the house or on the property itself. That would be awesome. We'd love to hear those. Even former owners, they're why not? And I know that they still do stuff, like we were saying, they still do a lot of stuff with the paranormal. And they will, have private investigations as well as public investigations that they'll host. And they still, like you said, they do like the murder mystery dinners and they do the theater. So I mean there's activity going on around that place all the time. But I think it would be great if we could get in there and do an investigation and see what we can get. And maybe down the road, maybe host a public investigation with a select few people from the outside the group. Who knows?
Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, once we get in there, we see what we're actually up against. Some people, it sounds like they, didn't get a lot of sleep. So, and not that we sleep a lot there either, because, we're usually investigating. I mean, we do sleep, but not like, oh, we're going to go there, we're going to put our equipment up, and then we're just going to pass out.
But I think at some point you have to retire. Everybody has to retire to their rooms and not go to sleep, but hang out in a room in your rooms by yourself with the equipment going, just to see what you experience on an individual basis, not as a group, or not even, like you said, not even really going to sleep or not technically even investigating. Just go in the room, just go about your normal routine, because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, and that's usually when we find things all the time, right? When we're just talking or just sitting around doing nothing. And not investigating or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we can split it up where people are up in the rooms in their, individual rooms. And then the other people, depending on how many people we bring with us, are down in the basement having the card game. Maybe throwing some dice around. We can do a couple different tables. Because I do have both. I don't know if you guys know that in Rolly, we have Rolly Thing. That's basically our box of everything and anything that you can think of, but we named it Rolly. And I've got cards in there and old dice, so we can hang out, maybe find some little bottles of alcohol.
They have complimentary booze there.
Do they?
Complimentary booze.
Hey, this place
says beer and wine.
I see no reason not to go.
I concur.
As long as we keep it down to a minimum and we can control ourselves, people. I'm just saying.
We're gonna be professional. I promise.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No,
Have
I
I
know
ever
you
been
guys.
not professional?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have not seen that, so I can say that you
Let's
have
keep it that
always
way.
been
Keep it that
professional.
way.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about certain things that has happened in the past with the guys, and yeah, I will throw my husband under the bus. He is like a big contributor to that.
It was my
Um,
first investigation. I was going along with the group.
Yeah.
I was not the bad apple.
No, that would be my husband. That was the bad apple. He should have been written up a few times.
I was under the influence of higher powers.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. That's it. Peer pressure.
That's okay. Well, I'll allow some peer pressure to help to push the investigation in a more positive direction for us to get evidence. How's that? With limits.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't see why not.
Deal.
Okay. People are probably listening and going, what in the world are these people talking about? They've lost their minds. But
We'll tell you one day.
yes. Hey, maybe we'll do a live podcast from there.
That'd
Yeah,
be
we should.
cool.
We
I like
should.
Richard's idea. That's a good idea.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of doing a recorded one, but a live one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We should absolutely yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you do a live one? Just do like Facebook Live one?
Yeah.
And or just do like we're doing. How do you do it now and make it live?
Well, I think that would be where we could set up for people they want to get in, and
Like
then
an event type thing, and they have to say they're going to attend or something, or
yeah.
whatever.
So then I send them the information.
Yeah.
So they'd have to send me their email address, and I send them the information, and then because we can get like 100 people easily on this to watch. And bless you.
Thanks.
And so we could do it that way and do a live one and go from there. Oh, that was my phone. Did you guys hear that? I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay. Well, it was my phone. I'm sorry. I should have turned my volume off, but I didn't. That's okay.
We've talked about everything but the Brumder. It's great.
Oh, we talked about it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think we covered things.
We
pretty
covered
good.
all the
We hashed
bases.
it out. I mean, considering none of us have been there, right?
Oh.
No.
So we're just going off of what we know and what we've read and and what our expectations may be when we go
Could
and
be, yeah.
what we would do when we investigate there. I mean, everything else had a backstory as to why or what, except
And
for
sometimes
calling me a troublemaker, which that had nothing to do with this. But.
No, but then too, we talked, like you said, we talked about Brumner and everything, but we also are bringing in our other experiences from other investigations that we can bring to Brumner itself.
Yeah, they all go hand in hand,
Right.
so to speak. I mean, you always learn something new every time you go investigate, and it seems to help us on our next one. Whether it doesn't matter if it's something real big that happened or just something minor with the setup or the teardown or whatever. Every time we've learned something different. So
right. So it's not we're not discussing it. It's just that we are making it a little bit more colorful for those that are,
for their viewing, listening pleasure.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't do the same thing all the time. It's got to have some kind of extra flow to it, I guess. So otherwise we can't keep, bringing these people back. Please come back. I swear we're going to get on other topics, we promise. So next weekend, when people actually listen to this, will be Halloween. So I think in the spirit of Halloween, we need to each come up with a ghost story.
Next weekend's not Halloween.
No, when this comes out,
following
weekend's going to be Halloween.
I gotcha. I follow you.
Yeah. So I think we should all come with a Halloween ghost story.
I don't have any.
I don't either.
I just had this discussion on another podcast. I don't have anything like that.
Well, what the heck?
I wish I did. I just don't have anything any personal type of.
I don't either.
Well, it doesn't have to be
stories.
personal. I mean,
Oh.
it could be something that you heard. It could be, someplace far away, local, I mean, Trinity's like giving me a list of things. Mom, you need to talk about this, and this on podcast. When are you gonna? She's like got it on our whiteboard on our fridge, and she's like writing down things. I'm trying to do the dishes, and she's got me listening to another podcast type thing, and she's like, "Did you know about this? Did you know about this?" And I'm like, "No, I have not heard about these places or entities." So she starts writing these things down. I've got topics for you for next podcast coming up.
Oh, jeez.
So I was like,
We'll do Robert when I get back.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And it could
Rich
be.
won't be on.
It
Where
doesn't.
am I? What?
Robert the doll. See?
Oh.
No, I'm trying taking out my kneecaps.
Okay, now you can tell them what you.
Okay, so we have the night lady, and then the smiling man. It's a theory that she goes onto the tops of houses. She goes onto the rooftops, and she'll wait there during the day, and then at night she'll sneak through one of the children's windows, and she'll stand at the end of the bed, holding a knife. And like only one kid has actually survived this whole thing, apparently. So, yeah.
Well, guys, it's that time again. It's the end, at least of this episode.
Not the end.
I know. At least until next time. So, for our believers, keep believing. For our skeptics, keep us grounded. Till next time. I will see you guys at Paracon. We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Please email us with your thoughts on this and any of our previous episodes. And if you have a topic you'd like us to talk about, email us at souphit@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to another episode of Wicked Darkness.